Okay, so happy new year, everybody, and I am back finally with another short film review. Today we are looking at the film Stupid Meat Puppet by Alder Media Productions. Now, obviously, I have not heard of this, I'm sure not many of you have, if there's 155 views on this. So, as usual, the film will be graded across 6 categories of filmmaking, and a final score will be given. Will this top the leaderboard? Let's wait and see. Now, I don't know what I was expecting from a film called Stupid Meat Puppet, but this was actually really fun. And the unfortunate thing is that if the first thing we're going to talk about is storytelling, then I guess we might be a little disappointed, because this is really much more of a vibe. So our main character John is having a great day, and he's about to hand off some flowers to the love of his life, but ends up getting hit by a car, which kind of sends him into that limbo between, I guess, heaven and hell. Now, all these angels have certain character tropes that are introduced early in the film, but don't really play any real role.
What are we voting on? Heaven or hell? Snap! This just got real.
You're good. It's either heaven or back to Earth.
No, I vote Earth. I'm in love.
Now, the bit where it doesn't really make sense is that John can't just go back to Earth. He has to be what's called a meat puppet.
Meat puppet?
Puppeteered by one of the angels. I don't know why he has to do that, but it's fun and I'm here for it, because we get to hear more of... So John eventually manages to navigate to his lover's house, hand her some flowers, she says she loves him, he says it back, and he is no longer a meat puppet. I don't know what any of it meant, but I enjoyed it. So I couldn't really give this film anything more than a 5 out of 10. Purely because the story isn't remarkable. What's remarkable about this film is the vibe, the humour, the colour, which brings us on to our next category, which is production value. The great thing about this short is that it knew exactly what it was trying to be, a slapstick comedy. And that is not meant as an insult. There are great slapstick comedies out there. You have Blackadder, you have Bottom, The Young Ones, all written by Ben Elton, it seems, but that doesn't mean that other people can't do it well too. One thing I get from it is that everyone involved in this project, the actors, the director, the writer, the editor, they may all be the same person, I don't know. But they were clearly all on the same page, because this was a very cohesive film. You know, even in the colours, this looks like a comedy. It's bright, it's saturated. Watching this with the sound off would not have me confused what this film was. So for that reason, I will give this film a solid score of 8 out of 10 for production value.
John, get your soulmate.
I think the cinematography in this film was deeply considered. Because one thing you can tell when looking at this is that the cinematographer knew exactly what this was, a dumb comedy. And when I say dumb comedy, that's not an insult. It's called Stupid Meat Puppet. And the way that you can portray comedy with saturated colours and brightness and these wide shots that really show off a character's full body movement, especially when they're walking, and the constant movement of the camera throughout the walking scenes that I guess make the audience feel like they're coming with you. It all feels intentional. And so with all that being said, I would give this film an 8 in terms of cinematography, which is awesome. Because in order to get a 9, the film would have to revolve around cinematography. And it would have to be obvious that the cinematography is on display. And for that, I think one of the other categories would suffer. So, in a way, 8 is kind of the top score you can get without it becoming a prominent feature in the film and taking away from another aspect of it. Now, sound and music, this is kind of tough because, I mean, it's probably clear what I think about the music. I think it's awesome. And if we're talking about the Foley and the dialogue, I think it's all perfectly audible. You know, we can hear everything that everyone says.
Oh, man.
John? Just John?
It's a family name.
There's just some sections where I can hear the end of an audio take and the beginning of another.
Why don't we give Harold the first vote next time?
Yes!
Just don't drop the sticks again.
I can't believe I dropped it down there again.
I've done that.
Up or down?
And yes, that could have been rounded off to feel a bit more cohesive. I think a lot of problems that a lot of people face when doing their film is that they can't make the dialogue so distinct. And that's obviously a problem because then you're struggling to hear what people are saying, and usually what people are saying is important and that navigates the story. And in this, you don't have that issue. There's just some things that could have been ironed out better, I guess. But I don't think I would have noticed if I wasn't looking for them. So for that reason, I would give this a 7 out of 10 for sound. Okay, so acting. I'm going to try and make this short because this will probably be the most critical category. But I think you definitely picked the right main actor. I think as well, a lot of the character traits at the beginning being revealed in a kind of title page didn't really help because there's a difference between, say, being clumsy and acting clumsy. And that became ever more apparent now that I had an idea of what clumsy was, and this person wasn't quite living up to it.
Oh, sweet baby Jesus.
That didn't feel like you dropped it. That felt like you opened your hand and watched it fall. I would bank on it that a lot of these people are just your friends. They're not actors. They have no ambition to be actors. I would bet on that. And I'm not a betting man. So acting-wise, I'm going to be pretty favourable to this and give it a 5 out of 10. And the reason that it's not lower is because you knew what this film was and it didn't require great actors. So 5 out of 10 to me is being generous. That's a good score. Okay, so editing and special effects. I think this film, Stupid Meat Puppet, was great. In terms of editing, this was just one fluid piece. It's like that old adage where people say, good editing is editing that you don't notice. And again, it brings it all back to production value, that this was just a truly cohesive film. That the editing didn't stand out, and this just felt like a big flow, which is why I keep saying vibe, and I never say vibe. This film just felt like a vibe, though. And in terms of special effects, the special effects didn't need to be any more or less than what they were. I mean, they could have been less, and it still would have been funny. Because again, everyone knew that they were making a comedy, a slapstick comedy. You're not going for Hollywood CGI. It just is what it is. As long as you get the message across, it's fine. And it didn't look... It was clear that this wasn't... The special effects in this film weren't the peak of the SFX artist's capabilities. It was like, no, I'm done. This is all it needs. It's a slapstick comedy. We've done our job. Well done. I would have to give the editing and special effects of this film a 7. It's a good 7. But it's going to have to be a 7, and it can't be higher, because I think in order for it to be higher, they have to do something really remarkable in the editing. And like I said, that would have to be brought to the forefront, which this wasn't the case at all. The editing really goes unnoticed, which is great because then we just get to experience the film. Okay, so that is the final category, and that means that Stupid Meat Puppet comes in at number 1 on the scoreboard. It's probably the slowest scoreboard ever, as it's taken probably about 6 months to do 3 films. Sorry about that, guys. I promise more things coming soon. So well done to Stupid Meat Puppet for being first in the short film reviews by Josh Wood Films, I guess. With that being said, I will see you next time and stay safe.